Welcome to the Through the Table podcast with Tom, Rick, Russ, JL, and Brian.
I think I combated that with something to the effect of that it was another miscalculation because they knew Monday Night Football was back. They knew Punk was back on the 20th. So you've had almost a full month to combat what AEW is doing. You knew Brian was going to be there. You knew Cole wasn't going to resign with you. You had literally a month to plan for this. And yet you do this. You hotshot a world title match and a Money in the Bank cash in
on Twitter.
Exactly. The day of, and you hotshot it for that night during opening night of NFL Monday Night Football, which, by the way, was probably one of the best games of the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That game was back-to-back and actually really exciting. And WWE needs to get with the technological times and start doing picture-in-picture. AEW does that. They do it now just about every commercial. Why can't WWE do that? Because I changed the channel. I was like, commercial. I'm watching commercial. Let me see what's on with the football game. That game was exciting. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep watching this. And they're like, oh, crap. There's a championship match on. Let me switch back. But how many people were like, I'm just going to stick with the game?
I know a lot of people, too, that were they assumed that, all right, Big E's cashing in after the main event. So I'll watch whatever I want to watch. And then at 10:45, I'll slap it on and, I'll see everything I need to see. Because nothing else from 10:45 before that matters on WWE television.
Yeah,
like
that was the one quarter that actually did the big numbers. Nothing else did anything good, really. It was like a 185 or something. Everything else was like a 1-2.
I know it's not the same era. I know it's not the same time. But man, remember back, you'd start off the show with Stone Cold doing something fun, and then the show would be interesting because you never knew when he was coming back. He would be there at 9, he'd be there at 10, he'd be there at 11. But now it's literally like watching a basketball game. It's like watching an NBA game. You could literally tune in with 10 minutes left to go in the game, and you haven't missed a second of it.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, and they know Monday Night Football's on. So what, for the next until mid-January, they're going to hotshot and get nothing out of it and just waste everything? Better.
Although they did say it was not a hot shot. They said it was
right.
Although it seemed like it wasn't. They were like, no, this is the way it's going to be for months.
Right.
My thing, though, was I feel like they dropped the ball with the whole, if Big E's going to cash in and give an excuse like, oh, well, today I feel like doing it today. It's like, I mean, he just came to Raw like Kofi Kingston. What was it? Hell in a Cell. Like a week before that, Xavier Woods got, same thing or whatever. The week after it was in a Hell in a Cell, got the shit kicked out of him. It's like, okay, Big E comes over. You screwed my friends. Now it's my turn. Like, but they were just like, I don't know. I felt like it. It just, I mean, just little stuff like that might make it a little easier to watch. But it just, so it's like sometimes they overbook everything, and then there's other times where it's just minimal effort.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
100%, and they could have gone in that direction with it, but for me it was so hot shotted and so last minute planned. Where the hell are they going with this? Like, if they went with what I thought was going to happen, where the New Day turn on Big E, they join the Hurt Business, that's where I was hoping was going to happen, where I could see happening. Now you have the Money in the Bank's already been cashed in, so that's gone. Now you have this super popular babyface trying to overcome his best friends turning on him, the dominant champion, and you build and build and build, and you probably get yourself to Survivor Series before you have your Big E versus Lashley for the title, because you're building and building and building, and you have a couple of months of an angle that you can actually book from. Now he's cashed in, he's won it. Okay, now what?
What's going to happen? He's going to lose it to Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. I am right. Because it sucks. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
Is that what they're going to do? Like, is it going to be Goldberg versus?
Well, I thought it was Goldberg versus Lashley, and the title didn't matter. So now they actually can do it without the title.
Well, let's hope that they do that. Who cares? Just have that match, fine, whatever. At this
absolutely.
point, let Big E fight whoever. At this point, anyone else is fine. It's okay.
Yeah,
keep Goldberg away.
I could definitely see him losing in Saudi Arabia, but I'm hoping they give him at least a Kofi Kingston, 6-month title reign or whatever it was. Who did Kofi beat? Randy Orton like 4 or 5 times, and it was just,
like it, yeah.
And that was it. But I guess throw Big E, trying to think, give him Sheamus or something, a couple months, and then have him lose it back to Lashley or whoever.
I mean, they already announced
some Samoan or.
They already announced Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for Saudi Arabia.
I can't believe they're doing that there. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but it's just kind of, I don't know. I could see.
Probably Brock gets a bigger payday. He's always in for those Saudi Arabia shows.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's besides his normal contract. He gets an additional it's like $10 million from the Prince or whatever for that one.
Is that what it is? Like he basically
he wants certain people in certain matches now. So they basically say whatever you want because he pays them like $100 million for the show.
Well, the good news is it's not Yokozuna anymore. Like he's not going for I want Owen Hart. Oh, come on, guy.
I think last time they were there, Vince actually told them this is who's alive and this is who I can get you.
Oh, no.
There's no more of this.
He did, right, that's what it was. It was like Yokozuna and Ultimate Warrior or something, right? He was yeah. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
The Saudi Prince thing is going to get real interesting real quick because there's more and more coming out. And this is going to be a little segue that I got going here where I am kind of livid about something, but more and more evidence is coming out that Saudi Arabia financed and had a lot more to do with 9/11 than anyone wanted to admit. And where do you go from that point of view? Where do you go? Do you keep going to Saudi Arabia? They're paying you more money than you're ever going to make on a WrestleMania. What do? Vince
McMahon blood money, so it doesn't really.
I was gonna say, as long as Vince likes money, they just keep going.
Yeah, Nick Khan's not going to say stop,
right?
Vince, you don't go. Vince doesn't go, but the crew goes. Right. So whatever.
Until their whole roster gets hijacked by WWE. That's how WWE folds. They just don't have wrestlers anymore.
I mean, they showed last week that they obviously don't care about somebody who was affected by 9/11 by cutting Zelina Vega's match.
Exactly.
So they clearly don't care about if Saudi Arabia had something to do with it.
No,
not at all.
I'm pissed. That pissed me off so much. And I didn't know, so I messaged you guys because I'm watching the 9/11 stuff the next day after the podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it and I'm looking because you see it out of context. You're not thinking, right? And I'm just seeing dark black hair with hot pink roots. And I'm, wow, that girl's got her hair just like Zelina Vega. And I'm looking. And I didn't even think, I didn't know she lost her dad in 9/11.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah.
She had been 6 or 7 when that happened.
But she's 8 or 9. I think she's 28 or 29. So yeah, she was just a kid.
It's going to mess you up. But she had a whole ring gear made up in honor of her dad.
Right.
She's in front of her hometown crowd.
Yep.
And Vince cuts the match. And I know Russ said when we were messaging each other, well, she had her match the next night. That wasn't televised.
Who cares? That's
not the point. Televised. And you have this documentary that just came out on Peacock about their response to 9/11 and all that. How cool would it have been to showcase someone who was legit affected by that 20 years ago, who's one of your workers? I get it. They only signed her back because they wanted Malachi Black to come back. And it backfired and it got shoved right in their face, and they've done nothing with her since.
Not one thing.
And it's obvious that it's a punishment because he didn't sign with them.
Right.
But come on, man. You have a chance to do some goodwill, showcase a woman who obviously was affected. She's in front of her hometown crowd. She's doing the 9/11, reading the names the next day. You could have promoted that. You could have showed that the WWE still has goodwill in the world by having one of their own be there the next day. Nothing. Like I said, if I didn't randomly flip it on that morning, I would never have known.
Well, who are you gonna bump? That's the better question.
You got to take time off.
There's got to be something in there.
Yeah, I agree. There's got to be something.
I'll say there's not one ridiculous segment on that. I mean, I don't know what was on because we always record.
Yeah, we don't watch it.
Even if you just gave him 3 minutes, who cares?
Oh,
here we go.
He is coming.
Peer pressure.
He heard. He's like, let's do this.
Coming in like a hurricane.
Is he in the car?
No.
I will be. I will be.
All right.
But I have to drive my girlfriend to the airport in a little bit.
She's trying to get away from you.
Yes.
Nobody finds that funny. Come on.
I mean, I was trying to think of hooker jokes, but hey, we're all on different sides of that spectrum.
What have I missed?
We were just talking about WWE bumping Zelina Vega's match last Friday night.
During 9/11.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just 9/11.
Yeah, just that. She has, it was literally the 20th anniversary of the last time she saw her dad alive. That's not a big deal.
And she had like special tights made and all that kind of stuff.
And she had family. She had family there.
Oh, geez.
Family. I think one of the newspapers was there. They're going to do a story on her about it and all that, and they cut it.
That's an oopsie daisy.
They literally can't stop pooping their pants.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't even have like a main event or like just another show she could be on, or just have her have a match and not film it. Like
They did the next night. They had the match and didn't film it. But you know what? I could go have a match and no one knows about it. Does it matter?
True.
The tree falls in the woods.
Exactly. Remember the whole thing too. The reason why the Rockers were never acknowledged as champions is because that match never aired. If it wasn't on TV, it didn't exist.
Yep.
So that's great. Yeah. They gave her a prominent spot the next night. Fantastic. It's not on TV, and she's basically honoring her dad the way she probably had for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. This was something special. This meant something. And, Russ, I was mentioning how I'd watched the next morning, not knowing that her dad had passed in 9/11, and I saw her on TV, and I was surprised that I did. This is something that could have got huge eyes on the WWE. WWE's lost a lot of goodwill in the world right now among wrestling fans and just in general. And this is something that could have really helped them. It really got some. It made that everything that AEW is doing right now it just works, whether they're intending it to or not. Everything that they're throwing against the wall is sticking. And meanwhile, the WWE just can't get out of its own way. It's kind of like one's having a really good day where everything's going right, and the other one is just like got a flat tire, late for work, never got the report for their boss. You know what I'm saying? It's like just one's having everything's going right.
Just all Charlie Brown.
Yeah. Yeah. Except we're the ones trying to kick the football and they keep taking it away from us. Meanwhile, AEW is not only handing us the football, but they're letting us do whatever we want with it.
Yeah, they give us the football and go the other way.
Seriously. Here you go. Here's the end zone, sir.
Yep.
That just
Yeah.
it just seems like they can't do anything. They can't do anything right.
Yeah, there's a lot of living in their past and living with the contracts and money that they have now. That's gonna buy them a lot of time, but they have to figure out the next 20, 30 years.
What? Did I just miss something?
I do too.
They're figuring out the next 20, 30 years?
WWE, like like in the early 90s when the WWE was going to hell, and WCW was beating them, they were going to be bankrupt and maybe gone forever. And then the Attitude Era fell in their laps, and now it's 20, 30 years later, and they're benefiting still from the Attitude Era and all the contracts that they have with Fox and everything like that. So that will buy them time for the immediate future and whatever AEW does or doesn't do. But you have to think in 20, 30 years, Vince is not going to be around. So they have to have those discussions.
Maybe.
Right.
100-year-old Vince.
He has consumed the blood of the young.
But you have to have those discussions too. So like it's kind of like another early 90s thing where the WWE could figure it out. They just have to pull the cord on some things.
Or find the right person to get them there.
Totally.
I don't know if the current creative team can do it.
But also too, when you had when The Rock and Stone Cold, like they didn't all wrestle the same. They didn't all cut the same promos. Like you're not going to get that kind of global success, or just, I mean, any kind of success if literally everybody's the same, everyone has the same vernacular, the same cadence to their sentence. It's all just, it's so cookie cutter. It's not even, it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
Yep.
And each show is the same way too. It's like the same each show every week.
And it's just now that, and NXT is just, it's literally the same. It's I got so much like OVW like vibes from that show. It was bad. It was like, and I understand why it was so, it was one of like the most watched NXTs or whatever it was. It was just, but it's kind of like the car wreck. You know what I mean? Like everyone tuned in to just see what that was going to be. And I mean, I guess we'll see next Wednesday if it stays up, but
I don't see how it can. I think it was all the curiosity factor this week. And there was a lot of curiosity. We all tuned into it, trying to see what was going on. It was bright. It was so bright.
Awful.
Terrible.
It honestly, like, and I said it in the chat, but it look like the Nickelodeon Studios tour that you
I was waiting for the green slime to hit somebody on the way out.
Yeah.
That's all was missing. Awful. You're right. It was just all those colors and everything just flying around the whole time. It was just too much. It changed 100%.
Speaking of Nickelodeon too, I don't know if anybody saw, I think it was last season when Nickelodeon did an NFL game.
No. I did see that.
It was actually pretty cool.
Like they would score a touchdown and like slime, like digital, like slime would like shoot out of the end zone and stuff like the those graphics that they've been doing on Raw and stuff like that with the robot and
so like as much as I know, because I'm saying the same thing. Like obviously with the Nickelodeon feel, maybe they should have dived into it even more. Like if they're gonna go all in, might as well go all in. You know.
It's Ring of Honor.
They definitely have, I think.
Honestly, though, Russ hit it on the head in the chat the other night after it was over. That was like a high school gym indie show.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like just the local, local guy that did a couple job matches on TV, runs a show. Yeah. Bob Evans.
Was Craig handing out tickets?
No,
No,
because
he worked for free. He was just handing out the tickets for free.
It didn't even seem like the fans were like real fans.
No,
Like
it seemed like
it
a
just
studio
seemed like
audience, like when they let in.
there was
Totally,
definitely,
yeah.
I really feel like there was piped in crowd noise.
Oh, for sure. Because when the tag team match came out, no one was reacting at all, and all you heard was huge cheers when Briggs came out and whoever his partner was there.
No
one was reacting.
How terrible was that? All right, so Josh Briggs, and his partner was like Bo James or like
I can't even remember his name.
I think it was Bo James, Beaau, which is, I guess he's Bull Buchanan's kid.
Oh, okay.
But so
he was on the show, but I didn't know which one he was.
So their whole team name is JB, Josh Briggs, and Bo James. So it's JB and BJ. Like that's Titantron. Like when they came, it's just like that's why you guys are a team. You know what I mean? You guys have the same initials.
What about
Brooks Jensen was the guy's name.
Kid.
Brooks Jensen.
What's that?
It was Brooks Jensen.
Brooks Jensen.
Yeah,
what about
awful.
the main event guy who got married, and his middle name was Gaylord.
Cal Bloom. I don't know what his name is, but Cal Bloom. He's terrible.
Cal Bloom.
That was the guy that they put into the main event there, the rookie.
No, that was Von Wagner.
Yeah, but it's the same guy. That's his real name, Cal Bloom.
You mean the Beverly Brothers kid?
Yep.
Oh, he's
Von Wagner, but that's his real name. Yeah.
That's Wayne Bloom's real.
Yep. But you can't say his name. You wouldn't want to do that. Like Steiner's kid.
Like
stupid.
They don't go with legacy anymore. That's why. So that's why Joe Hennig was Curtis Axel, and that's why Dwayne Johnson was Rocky Maivia. Instead of Dwayne Johnson would have been fine. Joe Hennig would have been fine. We know the names.
Yeah, exactly. If they were in AEW, you'd know for a hell of a fact that their names would be all over it, and they probably have their dads there in the audience or something. Well, I just don't mention his name. I heard Vic Joseph at one point said "dog-faced gremlin," and then you didn't hear him speak for about 2 minutes.
Oh,
I bet Kevin Dunn was killing him on the headset. Oh yeah. And he came back and he was like, what a move! It was like almost crying. I was like, oh god.
Who was that? Who was that tag team that looked like they were the poster children for the Hitler Youth?
It's Imperium. The other guys that were with Walter. They've been around for a couple of years now. They're really good. They have no character, but they're really good wrestlers.
None. But I feel that's right up Vince's alley. Those two. I honestly, when I saw that match, I was like, okay, this totally makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wonder what's going to happen with like MSK, because they do not fit.
No,
like it. That was the other thing too. I found was weird that the whole wedding, the NXT wedding, it was like all those like it was like all the indie guys. You know what I mean? It was like all those like guys that you could just like see just not being there within the next couple weeks. It was just kind of It was weird how it was just cut off like that. It was like new NXT, and then
especially with the report out there saying that no one re-signed with how bad the money was 2 years ago when they came to NXT, on USA. None of the veterans re-signed or did new deals. It's been 2 years. Their contracts must be close to up, or some might have 6 months left or whatever. But you can tell we'll just let them leave. We've got guys to fill in for them. Not that they're any good, but they're happy with it.
The wild thing was too, which I thought was weird especially for WWE, but it was like they almost expected us to know who a lot of these people were.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what match it was, but there was one where like somebody came backstage and like 4 or 5 people like shook the dude's hand.
That was Bronson Breaker or whatever.
Okay, so that
he goes by.
all right.
Bron Breaker. Yeah, he shook all the guys' hands after his match.
And like
I didn't even know who
I
he was
had no
shaking
idea
hands
who
with.
any of those dudes were.
Yep.
None of them.
I knew like one person. I was like, besides Briggs, I knew no one else.
But even when the Kyle O'Reilly, when he gets attacked during the match, it's in this little picture-in-picture box.
Yep.
And then some dude saves him, and you're like, "Who the hell is this guy?" It just there was nothing. Like even if Vic Joseph was like, "Oh my God," Von Wagner, new recruit or whatever, or new rookie, or
sure, right?
But nothing. He was just like, "Oh, dude, bro, just saved Kyle O'Reilly and it calls it a day,"
Oh,
and then William Regal's like, "Hey, do you want a championship match?" It's just like, what the hell is happening?
Out of all the people that they have there, they pick him.
So I read a great tweet about it. It said, "This is for all those who complain about Excalibur. Welcome to NXT."
Totally opposite with that. Yeah, Excalibur would have told you his last 15 years as a pro.
And do you like the Pritchard middle name of the week for Dexter Loomis?
Gaylord.
Gaylord.
Yeah,
Gaylord.
wonderful.
That was his joke.
I'm sure it was, and I'm sure in the back they're like, "Oh, so funny."
Oh, that's so funny. This is the new NXT.
I think Indy had a stupid middle name too, right? It was something. There was Gaylord, and Indy's name was something like ridiculous too.
Yeah.
And why was Johnny Gargano mic'd up? Everybody else, did you notice that? He was like nobody else was mic'd up.
I don't know.
That whole segment.
You might as well have just
was
handed him
ridiculous.
the boom mic at that point. Since they cut so many people here, we need the help.
Yes, Russ.
We can't hear Russ.
You're muted.
He's so excited he muted himself.
That would have been so funny. I'm sure.
What they should have done was like what they do on NFL, NASCAR, MLB. You might know who like Alex Rodriguez is, but they have a
Go a third.
We're having technical difficulties tonight.
He's not even in the car yet.
You just literally missed everything you just said except
The
for the
whole thing.
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, Russ.
Oh. Can you mime it?
It looks like he already is. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah. Oh, he was so
Oh,
excited.
He'll
goes.
pop in when he's back to normal.
He was so
But no,
excited.
I know what he was gonna say. Like they'll have the the what is it called? The Chiron or the lower third. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but nothing, just nothing. There was like 8 new dudes last night or Wednesday, and I
Every
knew none of
segment
them.
there was a new person.
Yep. And they all look the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They literally all look the same.
Is Ciampa gonna lose the title to one of them?
Exactly.
Is Ciampa gonna lose the belt to Steiner? I mean, whatever his name is.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's
I
just
would
gonna-
not be surprised.
When's their next takeover? That's probably when it's happening. Since they're already going for it, right? He's going to fight him probably, it seems like.
Yeah. Is that one of the new words that we can't say?
Oh,
We
what's
can't
that?
say fight.
I
The
don't
new
recall.
words you can't say
it
are
fight?
about.
I think that's on the list.
That's on the list. You can't say fight.
I like Mofo was on there.
Mofo is a good
Mofo.
That
one.
was a good one. I hated when Michael Cole would always say Mofo all the time. Jeez.
The new wrestler on NXT is Mofo Rowley.
Jeez. Maybe he's at Impact tonight. Oh.
We should get that list up and read it.
He's replacing Tommy Dreamer.
Oh.
Tommy doesn't exist anymore.
Nope, he is. He is
Tommy
canceled.
Laughlin, you mean?
It sucks, but
Yeah.
he definitely came off kind of crappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a way to say it and a way not to say it.
Oh, yeah, and
said
he
it the
did- that
wrong
was-
way.
So wrong.
Mhm.
Especially Ric
looked at-
Flair, you kind of gay. because like Rick, I don't mean it like that. I mean, Ric Flair has always been kind of like a woman's man, a scumbag kind of thing, at least in my eyes.
Mhm.
He's always like a sexual harasser kind of guy. But when you look at Tommy Dreamer, he's a family man who's always from the bottom up.
Yeah, but he's like a tough-nosed New Yorker. So him saying what he said is just that wasn't a shock to me, how he said it and all that. That's like he's got that blue collar construction worker kind of thing going. So that's what you would say.
I guess
You know?
Busted Open came over this afternoon and said they're looking into it because they don't like what was said now. So he might be off of there too for a while.
Yeah, I read the Impact, what Impact said.
If
I
he apologizes, he'll be fine, and they'll just suspend him for a couple of months, and he'll be back. Everyone will forget about it.
You think that like we just ruined this dude's life?
Yeah, I think so.
He has to approve.
It.
He has to approve what they put on there. So they
Right.
send him,
I mean, he
they send him
signs-
the
he's-
tapes and say, "This is the show. Are you okay with it?" And he has to say yes, or they'll have to edit part of it out.
Which
'Cause
means he didn't
sign
find a
saying he'll
problem.
do it, but you don't just put it up there with no shot now because they'll sue him. So he approved it.
What's interesting is that Flair said to Renee Paquette, like a week or so ago, before this even came out, that he knew that this was coming. Again, he approved it as well,
Yep.
and he knew this was coming out. And he said that if anybody goes after him, he's gonna start saying some names.
His thing was that he doesn't recollect that happened on that flight, but he doesn't recollect the flight happened. So he just is totally, I don't remember. I was too drunk.
Well, who's really responsible? Is it WWE? Like ultimately, because they put him on that plane?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did anybody watch it?
Yes, I watched it this afternoon.
Okay. So just even the part about like the liquor cart.
Yeah, 3 carts, full
was
carts.
insane.
Full bottles, not with those little nips, full
liquor
freaking
carts.
bottles.
Jesus.
And they drank 3 of them before they even
In
got
7
the flight,
hours.
got the flight off the ground.
Mhm.
They were on the tarmac for 7 hours.
Vince and
went
Linda are in the freaking plane and they let it all happen. Poor JR, go deal with this. Go deal with this. It's like, I felt bad for him after a while.
I saw his comments about how do you stop Brock Lesnar and Kurt Hennig almost blowing the hatch.
I'll tell you how you stop Kurt Hennig. Cocaine.
Oh my God.
I'm sure he had some.
Even Mike Chioda, but I thought that was crazy. Mike Chioda's just like, we're all just eating somas and
He's laughing and
halcyons. It was
joking about
fantastic.
everything.
And it's like, whoa.
Mike Chioda was just happy to be there.
He was, he was
got a
just
payday.
loving it. Just loving it. Just, we would just throw halcyons in other people's drinks and it was a fun time. And it's like, whoa, dude. Like,
Yes, he's done reffing. Wild.
that stuff
that was a wild
yeah,
one.
that was.
I mean, everyone heard the story, but just to have it go on TV now, it's like, wow.
Well, there was a different one. Remember, WWE publicized it with animation.
Yep.
It was fun.
Oh, the story time when on the network.
Well, just a couple little snippets for that.
Oh, those scamps.
Meanwhile, the stewardess has the 1,000-yard stare as if she just did a tour of Hanoi.
Yeah.
I just honestly, just because me and my wife were watching it last night, and it was just the most. Every time she talked, I don't know this lady, but I felt so bad for her, so freaking bad for her.
Yep. Totally.
Because she even said she was just, basically it was like she went to a hotel room and just sat in the shower. Just, you know what I mean? It's like she was just mortified, completely mortified.
The other woman flight attendant that was in that part of the plane refused to go on camera. She's still mortified by it. She wouldn't go on at all.
Can you imagine though, you're in the galley and you're trying to do your job, you turn around and there's a naked Ric Flair who's wearing
his
a
helicopter in his wang.
Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I looked in the mirror, tried to helicopter it afterwards. God bless that man.
Just don't do a reenactment and send it to us. We're okay.
I don't need it.
You could cut to the video. You add all the video clips and stuff during the podcast. Just cut to me doing woo.
But like, if that was just like Flair, if they were just like, oh well, like X-Pac was sleeping and Flair went up to him and, you know, slapped him with it. It's like,
Yeah,
all right,
if it
that's
was one of the
that's
guys,
funny as hell.
whatever. Mhm.
But it's like this little, you know, I mean, I don't know how old that lady was, you know, 20 years ago. I mean, she seemed pretty young, you know what I mean? Probably in her 50s, late 50s.
Yeah.
So it's
Say
just
maybe
like that.
mid to late 20s, probably around then.
Yeah. You know, and that is just, you know, she said she just came back from having it was her first flight back from having a baby.
Yep. Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just, she's just trying to make money so
And
she
she
could
took it because it was
feed her
good money
damn
for
kid.
that one to go on that trip instead of do, you know, regular Delta or whatever. So she took on it, and it's like, oh boy.
Like she was like, her and her husband had problems after that because it was just like, oh well, why'd you let
Yep.
that happen? And it's
Right.
like, whoa, like she just, it was terrible.
Who knows?
Terrible.
I mean, she might have been a tiny little woman at that point. Not to say that, you know, she couldn't have defended herself, but freaking
But again,
Lesnar is 350
What are you
pounds.
supposed
If
to
he's gonna
like?
go
How do you
after her,
defend yourself?
it's
Like she
happening.
wasn't asking
Right.
for it,
Right.
You know,
Exactly. Hmm.
that's all.
That's it. I do wonder if more. I mean, you know, Dream has already been affected. It's like, you know, it looks like those car show commercials are over
Yeah,
with
they
Ric
pulled him
Flair.
out of that, right? Or at least
What about
took it
Scott
off
Hall?
the air.
Who's going to go after Scott Hall? Oh yeah, Scott Hall.
I was gonna say Scott Hall's one to himself at this point.
If AEW is bringing Flair in, that they're going to hold off on that for a while.
No way. Yep.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Because
cool that off.
Tony Khan watches that and knows all about those shows, and he wouldn't bring him in right now. No way.
Nope. No way.
Nope.
When things finally start going well for the Nature Boy again, he goes and has something like this happen.
And I mean, I guess it wasn't even him. You know what I
No.
mean? It's just, but at the same time,
Yep.
you pass whether it's 20,
Catches
10
up to
years
you
ago,
eventually.
catches up to you.
Mhm.
That's and every celebrity, every public figure. Think about it. Let's say this podcast someday actually like grows and becomes something huge, right? Let's just say it does. 20 years ago.
Sure. Hmm.
You know, I don't know about you guys. It's not like I've led like a crazy life or anything. I'm sure there's one or two anti-inflammatory things that I've said.
No.
Not
Oh,
Tom.
shocking. I know.
No.
It's shocking.
I mean, if it was Russ, I could see it. Not Tom.
But you know, they've said some things driving I shouldn't have said. Getting cut off. But you know what I'm saying? But it's true though. Like these things just kind of find its way to come back, and you've got to, as a celebrity or whatever, you've got to sit there and just expect that this day is coming.
Yep.
Like everybody on
I mean,
that
look
flight.
No, I was gonna say, look at I think we talked about it last week. Excalibur. He cut that promo in PWG.
Yep.
What,
Mhm.
15 years ago at this point?
Probably
16
about
years ago.
2005, 2006, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and got suspended for a month for it.
We're different.
Um,
We were different people 15 years ago. I said that in the chat earlier. Like, think about it. Think
Oh,
about the people you guys were 15 years ago. I think about it often because I can't stop thinking about my past. I think of who I was 15 years ago. I'm a different person now. You know, you go through different things. I get it. What happened on that flight was crap, but you got to assume, I mean, Flair doesn't, I mean, from all reports is Flair's cleaned himself up. He doesn't really drink anymore and all that.
Yeah.
So that's changed. You can't go back in time and punish people for things that, yeah, it stinks. It sucks. I feel bad for the stewardess. I get it, but it was 15 years ago. If something was going to happen, it should have happened then.
Right.
I disagree with that respectfully, because I feel that it doesn't matter if you do something like that, what Ric Flair is being said to have done, then
right, that's pretty egregious. Like that's
yeah.
like, everyone's like, oh well, Dream was getting punished for something that happened 20 years ago. It's like, no, he's getting punished because of his his views. You know what I mean?
Stands
His,
up,
I mean,
yeah.
about it, right?
it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's, I get it, it's freedom of speech, yeah, but it's not freedom from consequence. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
you know, that's his opinion. He's allowed to have that as his opinion,
Right.
but that doesn't mean that his employer, you know, that pays him probably very well, you know what I mean? Like they don't share that opinion. Okay, then our views don't line up. We need to fix this somehow.
Mhm.
You know, and if that's just parting ways with Tommy Dreamer, that's what, you know, that's, I'm sure that's what Impact's going to do.
Right.
You know, it's not, they're not punishing him for, you know, just standing by, you know, and not doing anything, you know, when it happened. It's just his, you know, it's his opinion, you know, so it's, you know, that's what I been seeing a lot of that online, that, you know, everyone's like, well, it's, you know, it's unfair to, well, it's, you know, to punish somebody. I mean, you know, it's not like Flair's going to go to jail
Right.
or anything like that. But
No.
at the same time, it's like, all right, that kind of makes you pretty.
Didn't they settle it out of court anyway back in those days?
They did.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
WWE paid her to be quiet.
And there was
Yeah.
a certain amount of time where she wasn't supposed to say anything. Apparently that's over now.
So, which
Yeah.
is terrible because it does, I mean, mentally, it does destroy you, like having stuff like that happen. Like, I mean, I'm not saying, but like he's expected, and that's not right either. You know, I don't know. I could step on,
Right.
I'm not
No,
stepping on the soapbox tonight, but like,
Preach.
I'm
preach.
just saying,
Let it
I'm
out.
not going to preach.
Oh,
We're doing
fine.
this more set, all right?
No,
Just let it fall out, Jail. Just let it out.
No. I just think he did wrong, and I do think no matter what the time is, there should be some sort of consequence. If that is lose his sponsor, then lose your sponsor.
Probably is going to happen.
Yeah, Car Shield's looking to bag them.
See what they're probably going to wait to see what kind of fallback there is in, say, a few days, a week, before they
Yeah.
really probably say anything.
Well, they're investigating. They just announced it.
Oh, right. But, you know, if a whole bunch of people call up, oh, why is he involved with this? I don't want anything to do with it anymore. If you're losing money.
People's memories are 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Right. That's the thing, is if they lose money, then it's one thing. If they don't, then they'll be
Yeah.
back eventually.
It's also not really a complete mainstream story yet either.
No.
It's still contained to the wrestling audience.
Sure,
Right.
Exactly.
Let's see where it goes.
If you're
in a
seeing it
couple of
on the
days,
news
yeah.
tonight or something, or tomorrow or this weekend, that,
Which
you know,
probably
it
won't.
blew up a little bit. It
Yeah.
probably won't, but
No.
you never know. The wrong person hates them and wants to get something out there. They will.
This has been part 1 of Through the Table podcast for this week. Please stay tuned. Part 2 will be up very, very shortly. Thank you.